Hey guys, we have Cori Bradham with us today. She is an admissions representative from Berry College, and she's here from Georgia. And we're just going to talk to her for a few minutes about Berry College to give you guys some information about some of the things that they have to offer down there. So Cori, thank you so much for coming today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you on campus, and we've sent some students down to Berry and they never want to come back because they love it so much there.
It happens. We have that trends on people, so students and families usually. So.
Oh, so sweet. What do you think it is that they love so much about Berry?
Honestly, I think from what I'm hearing from every student, it's the moment they get on campus, the vast nature of our campus. I mean, we're so big that they didn't really understand it. They just see our castles, so the Ford buildings that are beautiful, but they just don't really expect kind of the grandeur of our full campus. And so that, and then sometimes the deer are pretty captivating. So as soon as they're pulling around to our admissions office, they're taken aback. But
so sweet. And you mentioned how big your campus is.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Is it the biggest?
Yeah, so we are the world's largest campus by landmass. So it's a lot of trees, but I kind of picture it as a neighborhood, as I like to describe to students, so they don't feel like they're on this just ginormous campus getting lost. You know, we have our academic circle, and then right behind that are our residence halls. So it's still pretty tight-knit, I would think, but yes, world's largest campus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that there are to do on the campus? It sounds like there's a lot of outdoorsy things.
Yeah, so our students, you certainly don't have to be outdoorsy to be a Berry College student, but we like to think that by the end of your 4 years, you will come to love nature in some capacity. So between all of the events that are happening any given day, any given weekend, through clubs and organizations, we also have intramurals that students are participating in. We have our NCAA sports that students are going out to support. And then as far as outdoorsiness goes, we have an office solely dedicated to getting students out there. So they have camping equipment, paddle boards, kayaks that students can come in and rent for the day. So we try to kind of push them out there and enjoy the land that Martha's given us. So it's been really great.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
That is really neat. So we have in the past had several students participate in the WindShape program.
Yes.
Tell me about that program and what that looks like.
Yeah, so WindShape College program was founded by Drew Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A. So we love to represent Chick-fil-A on our campus. He founded the college program first, and the vision was to continue growing disciples and leaders. So students who practice the Christian faith, no matter where they're at in their walk with the Lord, they can be a part of that program through an interview and application process. And basically all 4 years, it's a kind of a curriculum of growing them in their faith as well as growing them in their leadership skills, taking them on awesome trips and things like that. And it's a $4,000 scholarship each year. So it's a nice additive bonus to participating in the program.
That's so great. And how do you know how they're integrated into the campus? Like what role do they play? What do they get to do?
Yeah, so WindShape students, they have a lot of meetings and Bible studies that they do amongst their cohorts. So those students get really close after 4 years. You know, your first 2 years, you're led by an upperclassman in a Bible study, and then your second years, you're putting, or you're the leader in Bible studies now. And then additionally, there's community impact teams where they kind of go out and do service in different parts of either campus or the Rome city at large. And so that's kind of where they're getting plugged in. So a lot of times I'm seeing students from the WindShape program opening up worship nights for all of campus. So that has been really cool. And a lot of students on campus, we're not a Christian college, but there are quite a number of students who practice the Christian faith who will come out and kind of integrate both the program and the college at large.
That's awesome. What are some of those other groups? Like if students were looking to get plugged into some sort of Christian ministry or groups, what are some of the ones that?
Yeah, so we have the Wesleyan group. So for students, they do typically, in the past they've done lunch meetings, and they'll do a night each week or every 2 weeks of worship and kind of community gathering. We have campus outreach, which is a group of students. They meet once a week or once every 2 weeks. It depends on the given year. And they'll do worship, and they have Bible studies all across campus. And that was actually something I was a part of. And these students had the opportunity to do what's called Summer Beach Project, where for the whole summer they go to Panama City Beach, where they are going out and working in that community and trying to develop relationships to share the gospel, also while continuing to grow in their walk with the Lord. So there's a lot of meetings each day and just pouring into one another. And then there's quite a number of others, but those are the ones I can think of.
That is really great.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about some of the other clubs and ways to get involved on campus organizations.
Yeah, so Berry has over 75, 80 clubs and organizations. So what we do so that students can get plugged in pretty quickly is within the first week, and this is our first week starting back, so within that first week we will do a club organization fair. And it's kind of like a college fair, but they're just students throughout campus who want to represent their club and get freshmen to sign up. So it's a little bit more chaotic because they're trying to pull students in to sign up for fairs, but it's a really great way for just students to see what's happening. So there's an opportunity for religious clubs, political clubs, we have athletic clubs, we have art clubs, we have stargazing clubs. I mean, pretty much if you can think it, there's probably a club for it, but that's really one of the best ways because students are getting their email addresses out there so that these clubs can reach out to them to say, hey, this is when we're meeting, you're more than welcome to join us, and it's really great.
That's so neat. That sounds like a great way to get students plugged in, and you know, statistically, students do better and stay longer if they are connected.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things that I'm sure really keeps students at Berry. It's one of those colleges you don't see students transfer back from there.
The campus is very involved and engaged, and a big part of that is having our students live there for 4 years. And I think that's sometimes a red flag, but the way I tell my students is, you know, you can still grow up. There are apartments on campus, there's townhomes on campus. We are definitely not asking you to live in a dorm all 4 years, but when you're on campus, you're certainly more engaged. You're going to the clubs, you're going to the athletic events, you're going to eat with your friends in dining hall. So it definitely adds to that, you know, engagement and students staying. So
definitely. Well, tell me about the academic programs. What are some of the popular majors that students pursue at Berry? And
Sure. Yeah. So some of the popular majors would be communications. It would be animal science, the pre-vet track. We have students doing biology for the pre-med track. We have students doing early childhood education, psychology, and exercise science. So those pre-professional programs are really popular at Berry because having those professors teaching those students in those small classrooms is only lending itself to success. And so our students are getting accepted over a 90% acceptance rate at all of those pre-professional programs. So those are really successful. All the other programs are really successful, but we find that students are much more drawn to those psychologies and communications because they want to do things like this where they get to produce and just have the opportunity to get plugged in very easily.
That is really great. So what about last night at the senior parent meeting, we talked a little bit about the difference between net price and sticker price.
Oh, great.
Can you speak about that a little bit?
I absolutely can. So we've done the same thing. So we had an Admissions 101 event where we didn't necessarily talk about Berry the whole time, but we brought families on campus just to like enlighten them on finances for publics and privates and things like that. So I think that's a really good thing to talk about because a lot of times there's this stigma about private colleges and not just Berry that, you know, that sticker price is one that turn families away immediately, and it doesn't really give us a chance to work with them to let them know that, hey, we're going to work with you. What you're seeing is the value of our education, and if our education is valued at X dollars over a public school, imagine the experiences your student is going to get when they come here. And so for us, what we do immediately, just like other colleges of our nature do, is we align students with scholarships as they're admitted. So there's merit-based awards that students can receive. We have a Tennessee grant that students can receive because we know we're working with the Tennessee Promise that is out there, so that can be somewhat of a challenge for me, but those are the initial ones. We have need-based scholarships that Berry can step in with, or the free application for federal student aid. We utilize that as a private college because our cost is different. So even if families don't think they'll be awarded something at another school, when you're looking at a Berry, it might be a little bit, you might have some need there that we can cover. And then we have those awesome scholarship programs like the Wind-Shaped College program.
That is so great. So it sounds like students will hear back pretty quickly about the scholarship package that they'll get, is that right?
Yes, so immediately upon being admitted, with that letter of admittance, they're given their scholarships that first round. And so that's our way to make sure that we can start that conversation, say, congratulations, you've done awesome at school. Let's keep this ball rolling. Here are your first rounds of scholarships. And we always tell families, like, this is just the start. Like, we need more information to gather, but we want you to know that your child has done awesome, and this is what we would like to give them. So those scholarships for merit, are based on GPAs and test scores, and they can go on Barry's website on the Barry Net Price Calculator. They can type all that in, and they can find out what we would offer them.
That's great.
Yeah, so we try to do that, make it accessible, and being really transparent also, and just saying like, this is what we would offer. So that can be from $7,000 on the lowest end up to $19,000.
Wow.
So yeah, we try to make that the first like big bit of scholarship that will take off a little bit of that sticker price. And then the need-based ones will come whenever we receive FAFSA results. So this conversation is a lot of times very ongoing. Like I've talked with families from now all the way until April 30th when they're getting ready to make a decision on what school. So.
That is great. So do you have an idea what the average scholarship package would look like for a student? Is there a number for that?
I don't necessarily have a number because that FAFSA can drastically change a scholarship package. If the federal government needs to step in with additional aid or Barry College needs to step in, we can help with a lot. And so it can very, very much change from student to student, but that's why that net price calculator at least can give students an idea of like, based on what I've done in high school, and if I have a 3.0 or higher, get this $2,000 Tennessee grant, I can put all of that in and at least see what I'm starting with. And then from there, that's when we'll start breaking it down. So it's very individualized, I would say.
And so for a student who is maybe having some sticker shock with the sticker price for Barry, would you encourage them to maybe meet with a financial aid person and talk about that?
That's a great question. So the way we work in our admissions office is we're kind of also the financial aid counselors as well. So there are some things that are beyond my control that I will have to enlist a financial aid counselor with at our school, but we like to have the same person in front of our families the whole step of the way because, if my Tennessee families know that they can call me anytime that they need me, anytime there's a change in their award letter or some confusion about what to do, I'm that person every step of the way until maybe there's a question that I'm like, I'll have to go to someone else and get that answer, but I'll call you back. And so we find that makes them more comfortable to break down that budget with us and to talk to us about it. And our office, though we look young, we're all trained on that. So we try to make sure that we can really answer each and every question so that they don't have to go somewhere else.
That is so great.
Yeah, so the answer would be call me.
Okay.
Call me, and then we can talk about, using that net price calculator. You can also even put in what you think the FAFSA will say for the results that it gives to colleges. So you can even kind of put that information in there and see maybe what need-based money there would be. So there's a lot of avenues I could help with there.
Awesome. That's very good. So, Cori, did you graduate from Barry?
I did.
What did you study there?
So I graduated 3 years ago. I was an early childhood education major. So I was one of the many students who got jobs right away. So something we love bragging about is how many of our students are getting jobs like senior year and on. So, that major is really awesome because we are out teaching students from day one. Our intro to teaching class, we're already in the Roman schools doing observations and kind of learning the ins and outs of lesson planning. We do a full year of student teaching, so we've done that for a very long time, and colleges are now starting to pick up on that that's a good idea because we know that this time of year, at the beginning of the school year, is very different than the spring when students kind of understand. So we have employed that for our students. We get them certified, and now, we used to just take classes in teaching English as a second language, but it's actually a minor, and so we're encouraging our education students to really push that route. But yeah, so I love my time at Barry. I obviously could brag all about it.
It's so sweet. So what was it that drew you to Barry, and what is it that you love about Barry?
Yeah, so I'm definitely coming from a larger high school, so it's very different than CAK, but I really was drawn to the intentionality from the people that I was surrounded by, from my tour to meeting professors to meeting coaches. I really loved that every single person was listening to me. They were engaged with me. I didn't feel like a burden to them. And what that told me was that, that's going to be the same way when I'm a student there. Like, imagine I'm a stranger, and now think about when I'm a student and they know me. And I thought that was really cool just because coming from that large high school setting, I didn't have to do anything. I could be an average student, I could skip by on my homework, and I didn't really have to learn the material. But when it came time to know that I needed to really be educated to get a job down the road, I really wanted to make sure I was putting my best foot forward, having the people who were there to pour into me, and knowing that I was really going to know my stuff by the time I graduated.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome. And I know that is something that our families really value, so I think they'll be glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate you coming up here. Is there anything else that you can think of that you just would love to share about Berry?
I mean, it's a wonderful place. You know, the big thing that our students are always saying who have come to visit us is the community is unbelievable. And I think that's obviously what captivated me as well. But we definitely encourage families to come visit. You know, again, that sticker shock, moms and dads are very much aware that Berry is, you know, a financial undertaking. And so they're like, do I want to bring, you know, Susie here for her to see this? And then I have to say no. And so what we tell families is like, let us say no if that has to be the problem, but at least bring Susie here, bring yourselves here and see what we can offer in the classroom, in these student work jobs, in our community, and let's see what we can do about the scholarships to make this doable for your family. And so we really try to get them to come to us and talk to us, and then we can make those decisions down the road. And if I'm the bad guy, that's fine.
That's great. And about how far of a drive is it to campus?
No more than 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So we're an hour south of Chattanooga. So that's how I try to remember kind of how close we are. So just far enough to get away, not too far that if a student needs to come home because they don't feel well and they just need mom time, definitely close enough to make that possible. So.
That's great. So if a student is thinking about maybe coming to visit your campus this fall, are there any events that are coming up or special times that they should shoot for?
Yes, so we have what we call open houses like any other college, and we call them Discover Berries. So there's 2 Saturday Discover Berries and 1 Monday Discover Berry. So that's a good school, you know, get away from school, take advantage of that opportunity. I believe it's September 15th, October 8th or 9th, one of those, whichever is a Monday, and then November 17th. And they're really awesome. Like the students will have the chance to tour, look at freshman dorms, ask questions. We'll have current students all over the place there for students to just be like, hey, let me ask you about this. And we do a college fair, kind of like the club involvement fair, but all the majors and minors will be there. So professors from those current students in those programs, we'll have the WinShape college program faculty there, we'll have athletic coaches there. So it's a really good chance to just kind of be a little bit overwhelmed with Berry information, but also feel like you can walk away really knowledgeable.
That is great. So to sign up for that, they would just go on the website?
Yes, so just go under berry.edu/admissions, and then on our page will be visit information, and you can register for any of those on there.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for coming, Cori. We really enjoyed having you on campus today.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this and hope to continue doing this in the future.
Very good. Yeah. Thanks so much.